From all, to all, with all, for all, through all, we thank the gods of creation. We thank the ancestors. We thank the forces of nature. And we thank the earth. We thank them for their direction, their protection, their guidance, for keeping us, showing us, allowing us to know and enjoy life to its fullest, now and later.
Black people who once loved with the slow march of time. Time was ours to hold in the soft, love-warm chambers of our hearts. And once we, the Afro mommies and daddies of a sun world, would turn our strands of hair into antennas to tune in the juju madness and syncopated love rhythms of Africa. And we loved with time, and we took the time to love, and with the right time we loved, and we loved time after time. Will we ever love again? Will we ever love again? Will we really ever love again? Or will we just sit and rot away with the brighter tomorrows in the skag-filled, rat-cluttered halls of our minds?
Black people, what y'all gonna do? Black people, what y'all gonna do?
Will the real black people please stand up?
And welcome once again to Our Story, the program that makes being black positive, relevant, desirable, and true to a lost nation in America. A program that speaks to the historic significance of the original people of Earth. Our Story Network takes pride in setting itself away from other programs that centers on entertainment or rhetorical mumbo-jumbo that misdirects your attention onto other things that causes you to exhaust your resources and renders you brain dead. It is Our Story who talks about commitment to you and your people. It is Our Story that champions the reestablishment of the black genius that once ruled the world. It is Our Story that focuses you in on the rewards of black advocacy, black activism, black involvement, and black power. It is Our Story that encourages survival of the black race and solicits your involvement to that end. Black folks must remember, race first is the call of the day, and we as a people must, I say must, take the pledge if we, the people of the original race, expect to survive. As I take the many lessons I have received over the years and reflect upon them, by sharing these lessons with my brothers and sisters, I realize the power that we as a people possess for the most part has gone unnoticed. The masses of black folks who have been rendered lost and disenfranchised from the meaning and mission our ancestors intended for us to embrace, is all but depleted. It is because of the mission and meaning of the life of our ancestors that I realized how blessed as black people we really are. What fascinates me are the many gifts I have been granted, which allows me to distribute the information onward to you. As always, that message begins and ends with the importance of blackness. Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Greetings, friends, comrades, family, the inquisitive onlookers, and our beloved viewers. Welcome, welcome, and welcome to our Story Network. We thank you for being with us this evening, and we trust you will take something of value away with you after the program. That is the aim and goal of our Story Network, the network that leads the pack in modern-day communications and ancient and modern education. I say ancient and modern education because of the many errors we have found in the translations and interpretations of ancient records. The modern revelations by new black scholars have opened the window of discovery that has allowed the truth and knowledge originally disseminated by the black masters of education to flourish once again. This is one of the stumbling blocks that has kept black people from rebuilding their greatness and recapturing their birthright. Good evening, brothers and sisters, and how many of you are solving or resolving the problems facing black people today? I'm sure this sounds belligerent to you, and this is not my intent. The intentions of this is to evoke thought to the circumstances surrounding our environmental conditions. It is also intended to make everyone aware of the continued problems we as blacks are experiencing from an inhumane and schizophrenic alien who have successfully controlled the world and causes all living things to come under its umbrella. We talk about lots about racism and white supremacy because of the treatment the alien society inflicts on all non-white people. But many of us shy away from facing reality. Many blacks want all blacks to just forget about the history that brought us as black people to this continent called Winter in America. Worse yet, these same blacks want the rest of us to forget all about the history of our people prior to the introduction of the white race. Forgetting anything that has happened will cause and create the reenactment of the fall from power blacks experienced as a birthright from the creators of the universe. To forget only benefits the aliens. To forget only disenfranchises the very people who need the power of conviction to survive and then thrive. This is why I share with our viewers, those who are survivors and those who thrive, on sharing the history so others might not fall into the same trap our current day victims have. For those of you who have been traveling with our story over the years, you will know how intense we have been in bringing to light the horrors of police brutality. Those viewers were stipulated on the front lines while our story exposed the illegal treatment of New Orleans Police Department forced upon unsuspecting citizens. Our story maintains its position as the vanguard of the black community while bringing you the information necessary in protecting and promoting the need for black people to stand up and be counted. As in the past, we will remind you of the struggles of those who raised the torch high in memorializing their loved ones who became victims to alien oppression and murder. And by alien, I'm sure you realize I'm talking about white supremacists who used race as a method of control and enslavement. Tonight, we remember one of the leading advocates against police terror, a person who gave her life in the activism to stop police from selling drugs and brutalizing blacks simply because they have a badge and can get away with anything. Kim Groves gave her life because she refused to be controlled by a mob boss who wore a uniform of the NOPD as he protected his criminal activities. Kim Groves, a black woman who cared about her family, her children, and her neighbors, so much so she stood up and went to public integrity of the NOPD to complain about Lynn Davis, a police officer running a drug operation with other NOPD members. Kim also sacrificed her life to let the world know you can't trust any policing agency. Kim Groves could have very well been with us tonight if the Federal Bureau of Investigation, which we know as the FBI, would have done its job of protecting the citizens of the United States. Instead, the FBI listened in on wiretaps as the plan for her murder by Lynn Davis was being plotted and did nothing to protect her from meeting the deadly conclusion of a conspiracy to murder. This is why I have been reluctant to accept the word of any policing agency. They all are self-serving and dubious about, at best, when working with or for black people. But who are we to say that we don't get our just rewards from the power brokers in charge of our very lives? This is why I use every opportunity to celebrate our own heroes and sheroes. The status quo refuses to acknowledge the people's dignitaries. If it had not been for Stevie Wonder, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. would not be recognized nationally by this government. Jasmine Groves, Kim Groves' daughter, has pledged to always keep the flame burning high for a mother who helped save the city. It was October 13th, 1994, when Kim Groves, a mother from the 9th Ward, was executed for reporting police officer Lynn Davis and his partner for police brutality. For those of us who can remember the 1980s and 1990s, here in New Orleans, we knew these were troubling days when police were the gangs terrorizing the streets of New Orleans. For those of us who place our lives on the line, we know what was at stake and what it took to stop the police brutality that ruled the city. Now, it will take the younger generation to step up and continue the cause of fighting injustice everywhere. It is people like Jasmine Groves who knows firsthand the meaning of personal involvement. For that, I thank her for being her mother's shero. Jasmine, I want to thank you for the work you continue to do to keep your mother's name on the lips, in our minds, and on our hearts of all of us who are concerned with public safety of our community. You are truly the example for the new generations to follow. Since we are coming up to the 24th commemoration of your mother's sacrifice, What does New Orleans have to look forward to? Jasmine, share with our viewers what is in store.
How you doing? And thank you for having me. I want to start with always remember it's justice delayed, not justice denied. As you see, we coming up to the 24th year of her homegoing, which I'm looking at it differently this year. I'm going to do more. I'm rebuilding our home, so I'm going to welcome her home. So, which is also the day before my 36th birthday. She was killed the night before my birthday, so her last words were happy birthday to me in the home. So my fight was to keep her name alive, let them hear her story and not have her defined as Kim Groves, who was killed by Lynn Davis, but to know Kim Groves, who was a mother, a protector, who stood for her city, her neighborhood, who gave her life knowing the consequences. So on the 13th of October, from 5 p.m. to 7:30 at 1416 Alamo, it's going to be 24 years strong. Kim Groves returns home. This year we're going to be welcoming my mom back home to where it all started, 1416 Alamo Street, where she lived, died, and now live again forever. So we're going to pave the way, as they say, she paved the way 24 years ago. We're going to pave the way to be voices. We are our loved one voices. So I'm going to continue to fight to get her story heard, to get Kim Groves to be remembered, not Kim Groves, who was killed by Lynn Davis.
Right.
It's her story, not his history.
It's the work that she was known to do during the time that she lived here in New Orleans, which is a great memorial. It's a great tribute that you're paying to your mother.
Thank you.
I do not see those kind of gestures being made by your generation much. I'm not saying they don't do it, but I don't see it much at all. Nowhere near the way my generation has been doing it and the following generations. For some reason, we become lax for that.
Yes, and I call it porch conversation.
Porch.
I see my generation love to talk about it. But the time you say, okay, come on, let's take this stand, then everybody want to be quiet. So I call it more of porch conversations rather than back in your generation, my mom, they took stands. They came together. It was unity, you know. So I'm trying to, you know, give people a vision to come up off the porch. Don't sit anymore. Take a stand.
Yes, indeed.
So.
Just going back, just to recall the 24 years ago, you were about 12.
I made 13 the next day.
Made 13 that day. Now, that had to be very traumatic for you.
Yes.
How were you able to understand and at the same time continue to press forward?
It was all glory to God. I didn't understand then how I understood and accepted what was going on. I knew I went to sleep as a teenager, well, a young kid turning to be a teenager the next day, and woke up as a teenager having to be an adult. So it's like life did a 360 for me. But I don't know, my upbringing, my grandmother and them, the strength I had that brought me here to see my mom taking a stand like that, I'm like, nah, this don't break you. It builds you. So I took her, which could be tragedy, which was tragedy, and just remember the good things, the upbringing, the strength she put in me, the reason she took a stand. And if she took a stand, then I don't want it to go in vain.
Yeah, yeah. Now, looking over the last 24 years, I have seen you at a number of gatherings. Some of them were to memorialize your mother, but the majority of them was other victims and their families coming together to strengthen the current victims, to try to push the envelope further about the police brutality. You have been an advocate against police brutality. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yes. I always wanted to be that voice. I didn't want my mom, her stand she took to go in vain. So I started advocating. I started getting out there. I started letting her story be heard, letting them know we're not going to be quiet. So the more I got active and met more people, I figured, well, hey, we are our loved one voice. So I collabed with the Glover, the Madisons, the different families, and became a family of our own, because it's basically them and us. So we have to stand and remember our own loved ones, or become a cold case, forgotten about.
And that's interesting, because you were there to welcome the Madisons and the Glovers to a place that was safe, a place that was that would help them get through the times that they were experiencing.
Yes.
And you're still a young person doing this.
Yes, yes.
So what was their reaction to you helping them?
They were very thankful. It felt like a lift to know they wasn't on their own. It wasn't them just going through it, and welcoming to someone who understands and can tell you, yeah, I've been there, but this is what we have to do. We have to continue to fight, and I'll fight with you, and I'll stand with you, and I'll stand in unity, and I'll support you, And we became a unity, and we also formed the group Family Overcoming Injustice. I'm the co-chair of that. We actually have the visual at City Hall on the 22nd, which is our second visual to remember our loved ones, so they can be heard, so their voice don't be forgotten about in this city that they took a stand to protect.
I want to let our viewers know that we've opened up the phone line, so if you'd like to get in on the conversation, you're welcome.
Yes.
Tell us more about Families Overcoming Tragedy.
Okay, Family Overcoming Injustice is different families. We have now the Grimes. We have a lot of new families who's, like Ms. Roxanne points, who's just losing their family members. And we just want them to know that we're here to support. We also been fighting for the Bill of Rights of Family, to have the rights to not be treated as just another bystander if be on the scene, and have the consideration to keep them updated with information, things that will keep families in weary, wondering what's next, what's this or what's that. So we do a lot of advocating for them until they're strong enough to stand and advocate on their own.
Let me ask you something you may or may not know. Back 24 years ago, and comparing it to where we are today, what kind of support, what kind of cooperation are you getting from the city, police department, or any of these agencies that you have to come in contact with? Has it improved? Is it the same, or is it getting worse?
The one I can say have improved and give me a lot of comfort and help me with my fight is the independent police monitor. That was one of the best things they could have put in place. Other than that is like, I wouldn't say running into a dead wall, but fighting a fight on your own. To people who, you have to not use emotions. You can't be bitter about this. We know justice is delayed and not denied, but you're gonna face people who will tell you, hey, shake your hand and smile, and turn right back around and do the same thing. So it's becoming so common that my vision is to get more families to speak and to become a bigger voice. It's not once every year anymore. It's once every week or two. It's time to say enough is enough.
Yeah, it is. It is. What are we getting more young people involved today, or are they still kind of straggling?
They're kind of straggling for their lack of understandings. That's why I put out there so much and invite them to come and come like to City Hall when they have their open meetings and to hear, to educate yourself with your rights so you can know it's not missing you. It's just people don't seem to much understand or care until it's at their door instead of avoiding.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying come to open meetings. So actually what you're doing is you're inviting them not only to look and review, but to get involved and to educate themselves on a process that is going to, at one time or another, one day or another, is going to assist them when they're going to face it. Because, you know, it's gotten to the point, especially here in New Orleans, where it's not if it happens, but when it's going to happen.
Yes. It has become like the inevitable.
Yes. Yeah, you're on Our Story. Can I help you?
Yes, good night. Very good show as usual. I'd like to ask Miss Groves,
Yes.
has Len Davis ever made contact with her in the later years to apologize? And what is her opinion of the New Orleans Police Department in the present day? Thank you very much.
Thank you for calling. Has Len Davis reached out to try to express any kind of remorse?
Unfortunately, no. He still feels he has nothing to do with it. He didn't do anything at all. And when he was representing himself, the last day I was supposed to confront him, but he didn't even show up. His lawyers didn't even know. So, no, he never confronted. He never showed any type of remorse or anything.
Well, I guess that's understandable. And because I don't want to really make this about Lynn, I would rather do is make this about Kim. Tell me more about your mother, and because you are putting together materials for a book, and you want to bring her life story into this, her complete life story. So tell us a little about your mother's life. Okay.
I have a little, it's called Her Story, and just take away from history. So, I am Kim Groves. I have conquered many wars in my lifetime and beyond. I am the mother of 3 children, 2 girls and 1 boy, and of that I am proud. They are mine. I was raised by my father, my grandmother, and my aunt. They were all strong and intelligent people who loved and fought to protect family. So you know I am of a great offspring. I have always worked since a teen and traveled a lot. I have seen the beauty in the world. Also, I lived in New Brunswick, New Jersey for years with my Aunt Esther. My upbringing was great. I had dreams. I crossed milestones. I stood when everybody else took a seat. I am Kim Groves. I took a stand. I want them to know she didn't fear death. You know, we are surrounded by so much debt now, I don't even see people living life. And within the midst of her walking through the valley of the shadow of death, she feared no evil. She lived, she stood. She was her voice. She stood on what she believed. So I want them to know her life was beautiful. It was short, but she enjoyed every moment of it. She lived.
Now, I have an obvious question to ask you. How much of your life is mirroring your mother?
Just about all of it. Just about all of it. I switched our days. Like my birthday, I still don't even try to comprehend how to embrace that. So I embrace it with her. So I give her my day, and we erase the 13th period. So she lived.
Oh, wonderful. That's good. So, in your leadership role, how do you find yourself with people your age when either you are trying to recruit them or you find them in a similar position that you found yourself at 13 years old?
Many of them shy off. Many of them don't understand. So that's what really made me reach out for other family members who had like a common cause, who understood and, you know, more about it. But ones who are there, I try my best to support them. I'm revealing the family house to be a recovery center for families going through police brutality. So, and I want my vision to be having, you know, counseling, everything on hand that I didn't have. The state did not assist us with nothing. If it wasn't for my grandmother, well, my great-grandmother and her father, which adopted us, only Lord knows what story I'll be telling today. But by the gratefulness of the Lord, we was able to be still grounded family and didn't see the ugliness of tearing down, ripping apart, which our family was never the same. But we did have that support of wholeness still. But I just want them to know, like, don't let these ways of the world break you. This is the inevitable. That will happen. So why not live?
Why worry about dying and,
Yes.
and miss living?
Living, yes, you miss so much in life, so much.
Tell us more about the family center that you're putting together, because that really caught my ear.
Yes, I want to make it a family recovery center. Like, we didn't have too much counseling. We didn't have other families there who can say, you know, we have people saying, hey, we're against corruption, but not once lost a family member. Not once had to look into a police officer who once called, said to protect and serve, and now you hoping that's not them at your door. So I want them to have a place of comfort, of knowing despite what I'm going through, I might feel I can't trust the sun coming up, but I can go here.
And all this is coming out of your experience.
Yes.
Now, you know, a lot of times people will talk about internalizing various things is bad for you. Wow. You've
Yes.
internalized an awful lot, and it seems like it is just forcing you to blossom.
Yes. Yes.
Like the
yes.
rain on, you know, coming down on the flower bed, and the flowers are now popping up all over the
Yes.
place.
I'm thankful for my grandmother. You know, she wasn't religious. She just was spiritual righteous. And I truly understand, which it took me time to grow in it, but I understand the Lord will break you to build you, not break you to make you bitter, because the world will destroy you. So I'd rather take my life, learn lessons from him, who will also, at my weakest moments, be my strongest point. So I just try to keep positive and take that same energy that could be negative and turn it into positive. Because it's all into, I feel like life is my choice. I could have died many times, but I choose to live.
And you have found that you have an awful lot to give.
Yes.
And that's another thing that we don't see a lot of in our community anymore. And that's people who are willing to step out and give of themselves so others may live, so others may find some happiness, some peace, some direction.
Yes. Yes.
And this calling, when did this calling, when were you totally aware of this calling?
Actually, at 15, when I first went to court, and I sat up in there and just heard all the corruption within there. And the things they want you to call justice because of their legal and illegal injustice and injustice, which justice won't be served to me until the return of our Father. But till then, we can have a peace of mind. We can still be them good human beings, you know, and don't become bitter. Like, When I started with Altogether Against Corruption. And that was meaning not just police corruption, it has many corruptions. You know, we go out and we feed the homeless under the bridge to let them know, you know, someone do care. It do have better days coming. So I just do what my mom done. You know, she gave the ultimate you can give, and that was her life.
Yeah.
And that was not with a wink, a thought, or nothing. So, you know, when I wake up, I just thank the all and let them know, whatever you have planned for me, just give me the strength to conquer.
You know, you talk about your mother, and I mean, you know her well, probably better than most people.
Yes.
And you have set out now to teach the world who your mother is.
Yes.
Because I say is because I have come to learn through my investigations, research, and reading on African culture that Africans do not die until no one speaks their name.
Exactly.
And that is a concept that is totally foreign to this system that we live under, because they have no understanding of that at all.
At all.
But I'm seeing you produce that, make that a reality in your being. You know,
Thank you.
and because you have dedicated your life to memorialize and attribute to your mother, this also memorializes and gives a tribute to you for what you have chosen to do. I mean, you're to me mighty young to have that kind of understanding
You're right.
and consciousness about you, you know? And because you were thrown this at 13, you found a way not only to handle it, but to nurture it and make it grow.
Yes. I felt like life chose me. So I always look at that concept, fight or flight. And when life and death chose my mom, she had the same concept, to fight or flight.
Fight or flight, yeah.
And she fought. She stood. So I promised her that I'll do the same.
Now, when you're out, you carry some signs with you. This happens to be one of them. Tell us about the sign.
That's the 23rd memorial, and it's just like a portfolio. I want them to see the growth within. The fight is not in vain. Even if you may feel like this one ain't understand, or didn't get to this one, but someone understood, someone listened, maybe someone family member who's a victim of the same thing and is forced to be quiet, could say, you know what, 23 years of that, I'ma speak up. I'ma stand up. So
Now the other one, what does the other one talk about?
the other one is, like I said, we go out to different places, we feed the homeless. It's the quote of saying, in order to be blessed, you must first be a blessing. And I feel like my mom was a big old blessing to a big old community.
Right.
And at first she had to be blessed because the angels that brung us up was very great angels of the earth. So I just try to keep her goodwill going and just keep her remembered as that person who protected the mother. So.
If you would, put those signs back up, please, because I want to say something. When I saw these signs, I felt a certain kindred spirit to them, because these are the signs that were made when I was a child. These are the signs that I made after I became an adult.
Okay.
We've carried these signs on so many different occasions, protests. I mean, you name it, we do it. And to see that it's continuing on, because, you know, I mean, I'm just thinking about last week when we saw all the protesters in Washington, and they had all of these carefully constructed
Yes.
signs that were run off on machines. You know.
I actually handmade them myself. Yes.
But we always handmade our signs.
Yes.
And we always got the message across.
Yes.
You know?
Because at times, I understand what my grandma always told me, sometimes the most beautiful thing is the ugly truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you give it from your heart, from you. I don't want it, you know, distorted in any kind of way. That's from me and my mom.
It also goes to show others that you don't have to have thousands or millions of dollars to do what needs to be done.
Yes.
You have resources that you can utilize, because the name of the game, the key, is called communications.
Rule the nation.
And as long as you're communicating your thought to others,
Yes.
I don't care how primitive, as they like to call it, it looks. As long as it gets the message across, that's what we need to do.
Yes. Yes.
And we have so many people that are waiting to do something because they're waiting on this resource, they're waiting on that resource. When we have all of the resources at our fingertips,
And we don't take the action.
and we don't use them, you're exactly
Exactly.
right. I'm telling you.
Exactly.
Yes, indeed. We're talking about the 13th, the 16th, and the 22nd. So let's take them in order. We
Okay.
have the 13th. What is going on the 13th and where?
The 13th is the memorial of my mama, which we're going to do a welcome home. It's at 1416 Alamo Street, the house we grew up in, our family home. And it starts from 5 p.m. to 7:30. It's going to be a candlelight, but I also started it early so the family members to get there and meet and greet and get comfortable with each other and things like that. The 16th, I'm actually hosting the Night Out Against Crime at the same place, our family home, to raise awareness. You know, we say this, we say that we against this and against that, but we don't bring it full force to the home, to the community, and educate our own.
Yeah.
So it starts at 5. They didn't give me an ending time, but we're going to start off at 5 at 1416 Alamo Street. So I'm welcoming everyone to come out there and take a stand with us against corruption. Corruption is really wide. You know, we get stuck in our one thing saying, oh, police brutality or police corruption, when we have neglection of children.
Yeah.
You know, all type of homeless people who obviously can be working of doing something of their ability and not just labeled, if you can't do this, then you can't do nothing. It's corruption. It's corruption against, you know, citizens. So, you know, I just want us to come and stand and unite, be united with each other and know that we all have this common cause. Another thing is the 22nd, which is our second time, is for Family Overcoming Injustice, our group. We're going to have a visual at City Hall steps. It's going to be from 3 to 5 p.m. to raise awareness to the city while, you know, people working, people moving around, and also honor our loved ones for the city that they was executed in. They lived in, they fought for, and their life was taken. So we're, you know, you bring it to the doorstep.
Yeah. I want to make this announcement. It goes along the same lines that you're talking about, the Night Out Against Crime. I'm a board member of the Stallings Gentili Booster Club, and we're having our Night Out Against Crime also on the 16th from 6 till 8. But I'll make my appearance there, but I'm going to try to get down past yours to stop by so I can talk with a few folks that are there. I will definitely try to get over there on the 13th.
Yes, which is Saturday.
And that's from 5 to 7, yes.
Yes.
And then again on the 22nd. So people, just to recap so you know, the 13th, which is Saturday, it's at 1416 Alabo Street, which is in the lower 9th, and that's from 5 to 7:30.
Yes.
On the 16th, which is next Tuesday, that's Night Out Against Crime at 1416 Alabo Street, it's the lower 9th Ward, and that starts at 5 p.m. until. And then on Monday, October the 22nd, they're going to be at City Hall, the control room. If you would run those first series of pictures, we can look at that because that was last year's annual visual, I think. But anyways, it'll be the 22nd on the steps of City Hall from 3 to 5 p.m. Monday, October the 22nd. Here it is here.
Yes.
Yeah. This is, I remember this well. This is where quite a few people spoke, talked about their own situations. Yeah, there you are.
Yes.
I am Kim Groves, yes indeed.
Yes.
And I must congratulate you on your organization. That is fantastic that you are stepping out and putting together an organization that's going to address the problems that the elected officials who are supposed to be able to address are not addressing. You know what I mean? And I always find that to be wanting. We pay taxes, but we don't get our due return on our investment.
Right.
They always have reasons and excuses and alibis as to why they can never accommodate us with our problems.
Yes. Yes.
I shouldn't say our problems, with the problems that we face because of them.
Man-made problems.
Yes, exactly. So I want to thank you for your stepping up.
Yes.
And as they say, grabbing the bull by the horns and making things available for people who, folks like yourself, they weren't available for. You see a need, and you're going to feel that need.
Yes.
Which I think is magnificent. That's terrific, and I want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that you have that you want to share with our viewers?
Well, also, I want to, I vision myself, I speak it. I'm not going to say if, I say when. So I speak it, that next year I'm sitting here introducing my book. I'm starting on my book.
Wonderful, yeah.
Yes, it's going to be Dear Mama, you know, and I'm going to show her life all the way up to her sleeping, because it's not a debt.
Right.
She still lives on.
Right.
And just addressed a lot of different things that we don't know about our rights. You know, awareness is the best thing we can do.
You know, you mentioned that several times about our rights. And obviously you've educated yourself about them. Tell us a little bit about your finding the rights that you didn't know you had and what have you done after you became aware of them? How have you positioned the knowledge that you acquired, and what are you doing with it?
Yes. Well, when I learned about police, if you're stopped and the police feel like you're under the influence, a lot of people don't know right there on it's Canal and Broad. You can also have the police drug tested if you feel they're under the influence. But they don't tell us about that. It's open 24 hours.
Okay, wait a minute. Go back. Let's go back to this, because you're telling me something I didn't know. What is this on Canal?
It's right where the independent police monitor at. It's Canal and Broad. And it's sitting in the Liberty Bank, but it's at the bottom. It's an office open all day that if you feel like a police is under intoxication or wrongfully doing or anything, you can call them. In 24 hours, what they have within that 24 hours to come get drug tested, whatever they must do, or they have to take action of either suspension, losing their job, just like they, fault you if they say you refuse to do a blower.
Right.
If they refuse, they get the same consequences.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you know the name of this office?
I don't have the flyer with me, but it's in the Liberty Bank, right
building.
at the bottom.
Upstairs, I forgot what
It's the
floor,
independent
is
police
independent
monitor on the
police
second.
monitor.
But as soon as you walk in the front to go to the elevator, it sit on your left.
I'll have to give Susan a call tomorrow, because I'm
Yeah.
sure she has all the information.
Yeah.
Maybe I've been asleep somewhere, because I haven't heard anything about this.
No, it's no awareness. It's no awareness. I fumbled across it going through a situation that I was handling, and I was just asking, like, wow, he didn't refuse the test. He blew, but because he didn't blew intoxicated, they wanted to do the blood. He refused that because he did the test. So once I got down there and I'm talking, and the guy, I'm waiting to go to the meeting, and he's like, hey, you know where you at, huh? And then he went to telling me, I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, 24 hours, all day, we're here. So, it has a lot of little things that we don't know about. It's just like knowing your probable cause.
Mm-hmm.
Anything could be going on. Just because you're there at that scene do not make you part of what's going on. Exactly. You still have your voice. You still have the right to say, hey, and they talk to you so wrongfully and this and that. And a lot of people do not utilize the independent police monitor, but it's a great tool that I had one go into that situation and use that tool and saw the good results in it.
Good.
But we have to just know that they want confrontation.
Right.
To have a probable cause. But if you know your rights and you stay humble, it turns out a whole different outcome.
Well, very good. We're going to, once again, before we get out of here, because we have the fastest hour in television.
Yes.
There's a couple of things I wanted to remind them of. You can reach or see all of our programs that we do here on YouTube, usually by no later than that Friday, which means in 2 days you should be able to reach it. You can reach YouTube by, when you get to YouTube, put in W.C. Johnson or Our Story TV show or the name of the guest. And that will get you to that week's program on YouTube. I want to remind you also that we are on WBOK Mondays from 10 to 12 noon. I co-host the Chuck Perkins Chuck Wagon along with Chuck. So you can catch me on the radio on BOK 10 to 12 every Monday. And the Dates again, the 13th, which is Saturday, 1416 Alamo, Tuesday the 16th, 1416 Alamo, and the 22nd, which is a Monday, at City Hall from 3 to 5.
Yeah.
Sister, I want to thank you for taking the time being with us
Thank
this evening,
you.
and we will have you back again
Yes.
to find out what is going on.
Yes.
I want to thank our brothers and sisters who watch and participate and who support our story. And I want them to know that we are appreciative. I wanted to holler at my old friend out there, Hezekiah, and his wife, and say greetings to you guys. You have the number up here. You know how to get in touch with me. There's something we can do to help you, or if there's something we can do to extend the communications, give me a call. Let's see if we can't get together and do it.
Yes.
Till we get together again, brothers and sisters, I want to tell you, stay strong. I want to tell you to stay involved, but by all means, stay committed to blackness. Till we meet again, Uhuru Sasa Ngawa.
Come on. Sing a song, full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song, full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun, of our new day begun.
It's a new day.
Let us march on till victory is won. Till victory is won.
This is victory music. Come on, I hope you feel it.
Yeah.